After I was recognized and brought back to the wealthy family, the fake daughter jumped into the sea. My family believed that I had forced her to death. My mother cried her heart out. My father slapped me 10 times in the face. My elder brother kicked me off the 3rd floor, and I fell to my death. When I opened my eyes again, I was reborn on the day I was first brought back. The room prepared for me was in a mess, messed up by the fake daughter's pet dog. The fake daughter, with tears streaming down her face, said, "I'm sorry, sister, you can stay in my room, I'll go and stay in the utility room." My mother hugged her tenderly with a look of distress on her face and said, "You don't sleep well. What if you can't fall asleep after changing the room? In this life, I didn't choose a room, I chose a person, just like in the previous life. In the room prepared for me, the bed sheet, quilt, and pillow were all torn to shreds. There was dog excrement and urine all over the bed and the floor. There was a disgusting, foul smell in the air. The fake daughter, Jessica, was crying and slapping the howling husky, saying, "Look at what you've done. How could you have destroyed sister's room like this? You're so bad, woo-woo." She raised her tearful eyes and looked at me, saying, "I'm sorry, sister, you can stay in my room first. I'll move to the utility room." There were 2 guest rooms in the villa. One was given to me, and now it was in a mess, and the other one was going to be for my grandfather because he had come from the suburbs. As Jessica said this, she was about to pack her luggage and go to the utility room. My mother, who had just seen the miserable state of my room, had been a bit annoyed with Jessica and the husky, but now that Jessica was crying, my mother felt sorry for her. She hugged Jessica and said, "It's not your fault, Jessica, you don't sleep well. What if you can't fall asleep after changing the room? How about this? You 2 sisters can squeeze together tonight, and the servant will clean up the room tomorrow." But my grandfather, who had been silent all this time, suddenly said angrily, "You can't even control a dog. I think you did it on purpose. If you didn't want this girl to come back, why did you bring her back?" My mother frowned and said, "Dad, it's not like that." My grandfather raised his voice even louder. "If it's not like that, then what is it? There are so many people in this house, and you can't even keep an eye on a dog." Jessica started crying even louder. My mother got a bit angry and said, "Dad, can you stop causing trouble?" But my grandfather wouldn't let it go. "Let 2 people who have nothing to do with each other squeeze together. Is this your arrangement? If you can't even sort out a place to live, I'll leave right now. You can let the girl Joanna come and live with me." My mother said, "Is that even a proper house you're living in, and you want her to live there with you?" My grandfather retorted with a red face and a thick neck, "This villa you're living in belongs to me. Why am I living in a shabby house now? It's all because my son and daughter-in-law are ungrateful wretches. They're worse than each other. They tricked me into giving them all my company shares in advance, and then they turned their backs on me and pretended not to know me." My mother, feeling guilty, became furious. She interrupted my grandfather's accusation with a roar, "Fine, you can ask Joanna yourself. Let's see if she wants to go and live in that shabby bungalow with you or stay with us in this big villa." In the previous life, I, who had just been brought back from the orphanage, was at a loss in the face of this scene. Having been an orphan for so long, I longed to be with my parents in my heart. I also wanted to be loved by my parents and my elder brother, just like other children. So, when my mother asked me so loudly, I said I wanted to stay at home. Then, I lived in Jessica's room with her, but on the 2nd day of living together, Jessica had a high fever. My family was so worried about her and asked if she had caught a cold. Jessica, with red eyes, answered ambiguously, "Maybe, I don't know." When I woke up in the morning, there was no quilt on me. My father and mother immediately told me to get out of Jessica's room, and my elder brother slapped me and said through gritted teeth, "If I find you picking on Jessica again, I'll kill you." This was the first time I was beaten after coming back home. They all thought that I had deliberately pulled away Jessica's quilt and made her catch a cold and have a fever. I explained that I didn't do it, but no one cared, and no one listened to me. So in this life, I replied to my mother, "I'll go and live with Grandpa." In my memory of the previous life, my grandfather had a bad temper and often quarreled with my parents. In my opinion, he wasn't an easy person to get along with. But now, the orphanage wouldn't take me in again, and as a high school student, I needed a place to stay. My mother was stunned. After a while, she took a deep breath and said, "Joanna, Sister Jessica really didn't do it on purpose. This dog is really disobedient. She thought that everyone would choose the beautiful big villa, so she believed that I was just being angry. I looked at her quietly without saying a word. She stopped awkwardly on her own, then she raised her eyebrows slightly and said, "Well, it's okay. If you want to go to your grandpa's place, you can go. He lives alone, and you can just go and keep him company for your parents." I could tell that she was obviously relieved. It turned out that she didn't really want me to come back either, unfortunately, in the previous life. I didn't understand that, at that time. I didn't even know that it was actually the orphanage that informed my parents after learning the news of my biological parents. They had no choice but to bring me back home. My grandfather was also a bit surprised by my choice, but he didn't care about my intentions. He readily took my hand and left. My mother hypocritically explained to me, "Your father and elder brother are too busy with work today. When they have time, we'll throw you a welcome party together." In the previous life, I believed it and had been looking forward to it with great anticipation. However, until I died, I never got to have that party. In this life, I just perfunctorily replied, "Oh, we'll see." My mother's expression became awkward again. Before leaving, Jessica showed me a triumphant smile. She must have thought that she had won, but the truth was that in this life, I no longer longed for my family's love, and I no longer bothered to compete with her. My grandfather drove an old car and lived in an old bungalow in the suburbs. He was going to cook. There was nothing in the refrigerator. He gave up on cooking and was going to take me to a restaurant. I saw there were noodles in the refrigerator and suggested cooking some noodles. My grandfather glared at me and said, "It's not like I can't afford to treat you." Then, he started his nagging. That's why I say having a son is no use. He's just an ungrateful wretch. When you have everything you need, your son and daughter-in-law are like dogs, sticking to you every day and you can't even drive them away. Now that they've tricked all my assets away from me, they think the old man is a nuisance. I had heard these words every time I saw him in the previous life, and I was used to it. However, what the old man nagged about was indeed the truth. The company and the villa that my biological parents have now were originally earned by my grandfather and grandmother through their hard work. After my strong-willed grandmother passed away due to illness, my biological parents would come to my grandfather every day and fawn on him. They touched the old man so much, in the end, except for his monthly pension, he didn't keep a single penny. All his assets were transferred to the names of his son and daughter-in-law. Before long, my parents started to show their dislike for the old man both openly and secretly. He couldn't stand it and had all sorts of arguments with my parents. Then, my father took the opportunity to make a big deal out of it. In a fit of anger, he kicked the old man out of the house and even changed the password of the villa gate. The old man also had a stubborn temper. He bought this cheap old bungalow in the suburbs and lived alone. But after all, the old man couldn't let go of his family ties. He lowered his dignity time and time again and took the initiative to visit them, but every time he ended up in a quarrel, being angered by them. In the previous life, I had already seen that my parents, elder brother, and Jessica had all regarded my grandfather as an outsider. For an outsider, they wouldn't give a warm welcome. It's just that at that time, I still had illusions. I didn't realize that in fact, I was just like my grandfather, an outsider who couldn't fit into that family. Fortunately, God gave me a chance to start over. In this life, if it's a home I can't fit into, then it's not my home, and I won't force myself in anymore. My grandfather had tasted good food before. He took me to a very famous private fish restaurant. It was famous all over the city for its full fish banquet, but we were late, and there were no fish left in the restaurant. Then, we saw our family members. The four of them were enjoying the full fish banquet in a harmonious atmosphere. Not only were my mother and Jessica there were also my father and elder brother, who had previously said they were too busy with work to even meet me. Since my heart had already turned cold, even when I saw such a scene, I remained indifferent, but my grandfather was envious. He strode over angrily and was about to flip the table, but the table was made of marble and was very heavy, so he couldn't lift it. My father stood up and pulled my grandfather away, saying, "We didn't do it on purpose. We were really busy before. After we were free, we were going to bring Joanna and you here together. You left, didn't you?" My mother chimed in with a somewhat aggrieved look. "Joanna refused to recognize us. She even refused to live with us. What could we do?" My elder brother, Bruce, didn't say anything. He just stared at me with a gaze as sharp as a knife. To calm my grandfather's anger, my mother came over and took my hand, saying, "Joanna, since you're here, come and have something to eat." However, there were only leftovers on the table. I indifferently pulled my hand back and said, "No, thanks, I don't like fish." The atmosphere became awkward again. My father came over and said in a belated attempt to make amends, "If you don't like fish, then don't eat it, Joanna. I got you an admission letter from Ivan Academy. It's a very famous noble school. I put in a lot of effort to get it. You should improve yourself these few days, in the future. When you're in the same school as Jessica, pay more attention to your appearance and manners. Don't embarrass our family." He spoke in a superior tone as if he were giving me a favor. He thought I would be happy and excited and full of gratitude to him. In the previous life, I was indeed quite happy, because this school was very famous. It was impossible for someone who wasn't from a wealthy family or a top student to get in, so I went, but I found that almost everyone there was a devil. Except for those top students who were invited by the school with a high salary and were protected by the teachers and never bothered with worldly affairs. The favorite hobby of the other students was to bully anyone they could oppress at will, and because of Jessica's spread of the news, the whole school knew that I used to be an orphan who grew up poor and had no one to rely on. They made fun of everything about me, my rustic words and deeds, my clumsy spoken English, my clothes and hairstyles that didn't keep up with the trend. All became the source of their laughter, and Jessica even secretly took a photo of my conservative underwear and posted it on the forum, making the whole school laugh at me. Some of the mean ones forced me to the ground, deliberately pulled my clothes, and showed everyone my underwear. Facing all this every day, I couldn't study. After learning that Jessica was the mastermind behind all this, I slapped her. She ran home crying with red eyes to complain. Seeing the slap mark on her white and tender cheek, my family was heartbroken. They didn't even give me a chance to explain. My mother cursed me with the most vicious words. "How could I have given birth to such a vicious little beast like you? I should have known better than to bring you, this harmful trash, back home." And my father and elder brother both beat me. One slapped me in the face, the other kicked me several times. This was the second time I was beaten after coming back home. Come on, are you so stupid with joy just because you can get into Ivan? What a disgrace. My elder brother's mocking sneer pulled me out of the painful memories. I didn't look at him. Instead, I said to my father, "No need, I'll go to number 1 middle school." My father and elder brother were both slightly stunned. My mother also had a look of disbelief. My father thought I was just inexperienced and frowned, saying, "The vision of someone who grew up in an orphanage is really short-sighted, Joanna. I'm telling you, Ivan is." I interrupted him. "I'm going to number 1 middle school." Number 1 middle school was a public school that judged students entirely based on their strength. Its teaching quality was even better than that of Ivan Academy. Fortunately, my childhood dream was to change my life through studying. So I had always done well in my studies. It's just that in the previous life, I was controlled by the longing for family affection. Later, not only did I fail to change my life, but I was also forced into a dead end because of it. In this life, I won't be stupid again. I will carry out the belief of changing my destiny through studying, to the end. Fortunately, with my grades, I could get into number 1 middle school. My parents and elder brother all looked at me, and their eyes became a bit complicated. The atmosphere fell silent. Realizing that my family was actually paying attention to me, Jessica started crying. "Does sister hate me? She doesn't want to have dinner with me, doesn't want to live at home with me, and doesn't want to go to the same school as me. Then I'll move out. After I move out, Grandpa and Joanna can come and live at home." As soon as she started crying, my father, mother, and elder brother, ignoring my refusal, all went to comfort her one by one. I took my grandfather's hand and left the restaurant. My grandfather didn't continue to make a big scene with my parents as he used to. He let me hold his arm and left silently with me. When we got back to Grandpa's house, I cooked noodles and cracked an egg into each bowl. Grandpa and I each had a bowl and ate them all up. After eating, Grandpa went into his room. I also went into the other room to study. I studied until late at night. I went to the kitchen to get some water. Then, I noticed that the light was also on in Grandpa's room. There was a crack beside the wooden door, and I saw Grandpa sitting at the computer desk, busily working on the computer. I poured a cup of warm boiled water and took it to him. I thought he was playing games. However, I found that Grandpa was skillfully writing a project proposal. I handed the warm boiled water to him and said, "Grandpa, you're getting old, don't stay up late, go to bed early." Grandpa gave me a glare and snorted defiantly, "70 is still an age for making a breakthrough." I was amused. After living 2 lifetimes, I never knew that the old man was actually quite cute. Grandpa asked cautiously, a rare expression on his face, "You saw what that girl had in terms of living conditions, food, and what she used, and how they favored her. Were you jealous?" I shook my head. In the previous life, I was jealous, but in the end, I ended up with a tragic death. In this life, I no longer have any expectations. After my heart has become as calm as still water, I don't care anymore. Grandpa glared at me again and said, "If you're not jealous, I am. Don't think that just because I'm old, I'm useless. No matter how old I am, a good sword is always a good sword, granddaughter. You just wait and see. I'm much better than those heartless and ungrateful wretches. I will definitely make your life better than that girl's." Unexpectedly, my grandpa had turned into a jealous person and was feeling envious of that family over there. A warm current flowed through my heart, and I nodded to him, saying, "I'm quite satisfied with my current situation. I have food and a place to live. Grandpa, you don't need to be jealous. I will study hard. In the future, I will definitely use my abilities to make sure you live a good life." Grandpa blurted out a popular internet phrase, "Okay, let's go for it together. Okay, let's go for it." That night, both Grandpa and I were busy until the early hours of the morning. I thought that the old man was just doing it on a whim, but I didn't expect that he was really serious about it. Before long, he found business partners and established a new company. He no longer expected any family affection from that family. Instead, he put all his energy into his career. In 2 months, Grandpa earned enough money to buy a nice car. In 3 months, he earned enough for the down payment of a house, and I, after working hard day and night, finally managed to get into the top key class of #1 middle school from an ordinary class at the beginning. I didn't go to see that family again, but my mother took the initiative to call me. Only then did I realize that after fully immersing myself in my studies, I had completely forgotten about them. The family affection that I had desperately longed for in the previous life had become insignificant during the time when I was striving to move forward in this life. My mother called me and wanted to throw a birthday party for me and Jessica together. In the previous life, because of the incident where I slapped Jessica, my family unanimously asked me to move out and live elsewhere. So, my mother rented the cheapest house for me near the school. On the first birthday after being recognized by my family, I didn't have much hope originally, but Jessica sent me a message saying that the family had prepared a birthday party for me. Hope ignited in my heart, and I rushed home excitedly. However, I was stopped outside the door by the butler. The butler said that my parents and elder brother had instructed them that they didn't want to see me again, and if I came back, they shouldn't let me into the house. At the door, I saw that many people were holding a lively birthday party for Jessica by the swimming pool. Jessica was dressed up like a princess. There were dresses, jewelry, flowers, and an endless stream of gifts to unwrap. I was jealous. I was the biological daughter of this family. Why could she, a fake daughter, have everything, and I, the biological daughter, didn't even deserve to have a birthday? My jealousy made me lose control, and I ran to the party and caused a scene. I tried to snatch the crown from Jessica's head, and her flowers and gifts. My parents were so angry that they were shaking. Then, I was kicked into the swimming pool viciously by my elder brother. My family explained to the guests that I was an orphan girl they had sponsored. Unexpectedly, I was so greedy that I was jealous of Jessica and even deluded myself into thinking I could be their biological daughter. I floundered in the water. No one came to save me. My survival instinct made me desperately climb out of the water. Everyone looked at me with nothing but mockery and disdain in their eyes. I was soaked through and looked extremely embarrassed. Like a drowned rat, I was driven out of the villa, with tears streaming down my face. I listened to the liveliness and joy inside, feeling like a mouse peeking at other people's happy lives while lying in a gutter. Unexpectedly, in this life, my mother actually took the initiative to invite me to celebrate my birthday with them. I replied indifferently, "No, thanks," perhaps because I was too cold. My mother lost her temper. "Joanna, I'm your biological mother. Look at your attitude. It's been half a year, and you haven't called us once. Do you really consider us your family? I said. You didn't give me your phone number. Even if I had it, I wouldn't call her. I forgot for a moment. Your father must have given it to you, right? Number, what about your elder brother and Jessica? Number, my mother was so embarrassed that she couldn't say a word. Then, she changed the topic. Can you keep up with the study progress in number 1 middle school? Previously, I asked you to enter Ivan Academy so that you and Jessica could take care of each other. I interrupted her. I still need to do some practice questions. I'm hanging up. Wait, she got to the main point of the call today. Well, you bring Grandpa back with you tomorrow night. Our whole family will celebrate your and Jessica's birthdays together. I remembered that at about this time in the previous life, my father wanted to win a big project. Grandpa had connections in this regard, so my parents took the initiative to invite Grandpa home for dinner. Grandpa was quite happy and thought that they had finally come to their senses and were going to fulfill their filial duties, but after learning the truth, Grandpa was disheartened and didn't bother to pay attention to my parents at all, and naturally didn't offer any help. Then, before the meal was over, they had a big quarrel with Grandpa again. I still remember that on the night of Jessica's birthday party in the previous life, Grandpa, who also longed for family affection, came eagerly. Just like the spineless me, hoping to go into the villa and have a reunion, but he was driven out by my parents, who had changed their attitude. So, that night, besides me, there was another mouse peeking outside the villa. That was Grandpa. Thinking of these things from the previous life, I replied on behalf of Grandpa. Grandpa and I are very busy and don't have time. What's so busy about a retired old man? You tell him to contact your father. He's running around at his age and doesn't even answer his phone. No one will know if he dies somewhere one day. I hung up the phone. Of course, they couldn't find Grandpa. Grandpa's company was very busy. He didn't have time and didn't want to pay attention to that family anymore. We also moved to a new place, to make it convenient for me to go to school. Grandpa paid the down payment for a house in a community near number 1 middle school. I didn't want to tell my mother about our current situation. I thought that they probably wouldn't care either. The next day was the weekend. Grandpa booked a private room in a luxurious restaurant and insisted on throwing a birthday party for me. In the corridor of the restaurant, I bumped into Jessica, who was dressed gorgeously. When she saw me, she sneered coldly. "Humph, I thought you really weren't going to compete with me. It turns out that you've been building an image all this time. Haven't you? Mom called you here. Don't you think you can be on an equal footing with me just because of that and actually come here to celebrate your birthday?" She laughed and said, "You idiot, Mom called you here just for Grandpa's connections. So what if you're the biological daughter? They don't love you. They only recognize me as their daughter. You slapped me, and they will take revenge on you 10 times or even 100 times over. Do you think you're worthy of competing with me?" I disdained to waste words with her and simply ignored her, continuing to walk forward. The private room that Grandpa booked for me was the innermost, largest, and most luxurious one. Jessica persistently ran in front of me, blocked my way, and looked at me with a scowling face. "Country bumpkin, do you want to die? There's a gathering of big shots in the private room ahead. If an unknown lowlife like you barges in, it's just asking for death." Just then, my father, mother, and elder brother also came out of the private room behind Jessica. Jessica immediately exaggeratedly said that I had low moral standards and was wandering around in this high-end place. My father and elder brother looked at me with cold eyes. My mother reluctantly said, "Since you're here, come in. This isn't a place where you can wander around. Don't cause trouble for us." I ignored them and was about to continue walking forward. "Don't you understand what I'm saying?" My elder brother reached out impatiently and pushed me. At this moment, Grandpa came out from the luxurious private room at the innermost part. The whole family was stunned. Grandpa didn't even look at them and beckoned me to come over. I ran over. This time, my father blocked my way. My father smiled obsequiously at Grandpa and said, "Dad, were you invited by Mr. Leo to attend their banquet? Joanna is still young and doesn't know anything about socializing. I've arranged a birthday meal in the private room here. It's better for Joanna and Jessica to go into this room and celebrate their birthdays together. I'll accompany you to meet Mr. Leo." Mr. Leo was among the top 3 on the city's rich list. The big shot that my father had been desperately trying to get close to recently was Mr. Leo. He specifically arranged Jessica's birthday party here just to find an opportunity to get to know Mr. Leo. Unexpectedly, now Grandpa was in Mr. Leo's private room. Naturally, my father wouldn't let go of this opportunity. Grandpa said very pretentiously, "The main character of my banquet today is Joanna." Mr. Leo and the others were all invited by me to celebrate Joanna's birthday. "What do I need you to accompany me for?" The whole family thought they had misheard. My father frowned and said, "Dad, do you mean that the banquet in that private room was arranged by you? Where did you get so much money, anyway? You don't need to pay for me." Grandpa didn't want to tell him about his financial situation anymore. As he spoke, Grandpa reached out and pulled me over. My father quickly followed and smiled as he grabbed Grandpa's arm. "I knew that you have a wide network of connections, Dad. You used to work with Mr. Leo for many years, and you must be old friends already. I'm going to participate in the bidding for a project of Mr. Leo's recently. Dad, take me to meet him and put in a good word for me. With you stepping in, our family will definitely win this project." Grandpa calmly raised an eyebrow and said, "Oh, I'm also participating in the bidding for this project. I won't help you. Helping you would be like giving myself one more competitor. I'm not going to do such a stupid thing." The flattering expression on my father's face turned cold, and he said unceremoniously in a cold voice, "Dad, how old are you? Do you still want to tire yourself out with your career? I'm your son. If you don't pave the way for me, what are you competing with me for?" Grandpa glared at him and said, "Who says that a 70-year-old can't have a career? Why should I pave the way for you, just because you're my son? I've already been fooled by you once. I'm not that stupid. I won't be fooled by the same person a second time." Regarding the bidding for the project of the Lincoln family group, everyone competes based on their abilities. If you can't get it, it's because you're useless. "Don't come and bother me." My hot-tempered elder brother jumped out and started cursing. "You old bastard." My mother quickly covered my elder brother's mouth. She turned to Grandpa and smiled hypocritically. "Dad, you go ahead, do your business well, and I wish you great success." The words sounded very nice, but the calculation in her eyes couldn't be hidden. "Joanna, the candles are lit. Come and make a wish quickly." The one who came out from the luxurious private room and called me was Brian, the grandson of Mr. Leo and a top student and heartthrob at Ivan Academy. Mr. Leo and Grandpa had been struggling in the business world for many years. The two old men were not only business partners but also good friends for many years. Grandpa told me that Brian had taken the initiative to come with Grandpa Lincoln to celebrate my birthday. I met Brian at the New Concept Physics competition a month ago. Both he and I won awards. I was the second place, and he was the third place. He took the initiative to add me on WeChat, and I agreed. He was a very good study partner. Such a friend could help me make progress faster. After we got to know each other, we often discussed the key points of various subjects on WeChat. At this moment, when Jessica saw Brian, her face changed, according to my memory from the previous life. Jessica had always had a crush on Brian, but she wasn't good at studying, and Brian could be said to be a study maniac. She couldn't even talk to him. "Okay, I'm coming," I replied to Brian with a smile. Jessica was no longer complacent. She gave me a resentful look and instantly put on a pitiful expression. She eagerly grabbed Grandpa's arm and said, "Grandpa, today is my birthday too. Can we go to your side and celebrate together? It will be more lively if we're all together." Grandpa refused unceremoniously. "You celebrate your birthday, and we'll celebrate ours. Let's not get together and make each other unhappy." Grandpa and I held hands and went to celebrate my birthday. Grandpa said to me triumphantly in a low voice, "We used to be jealous of them, now it's finally their turn to be jealous of us. Humph, they deserve it. Hee 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 hee." I was amused by his playful smile, like that of a naughty old man. Jessica was so angry that she burst into tears. The whole family rushed to comfort her. My elder brother wanted to rush over to vent Jessica's anger. My mother grabbed him tightly again and said in a low voice, "The old man has a wide network of connections. No matter how much money he earns, it will all be ours in the future. Don't be impatient. Don't make the old man angry and let him lie low again. Then he'll come and bother us every day. The old man is getting old after all. Once he dies, there will be plenty of opportunities to avenge Jessica." She spoke very softly, but I had good hearing and heard every word. I couldn't help but curl my lips and sneer. I hope that after Jessica causes the same kind of scandal as in the previous life, they will still protect her to the end as always. After the college entrance examination, in this life, I was admitted to a prestigious university with excellent grades. My father and mother, upon learning of my results, took the initiative to meet me for the first time. They each prepared expensive gifts for me. This was a treatment I had never received in my previous life, not even until my death. My parents wore forced smiles and said they had been extremely busy with work and had only recently found the time. They wanted to throw a grand and solemn welcome party for me. They planned to hold it in the most luxurious hotel, inviting all relatives and friends, and publicly announced that I was the biological daughter of the family. In my previous life, I think I would have been overjoyed, but in this life, I no longer care whether I am a daughter of the family or not. Moreover, I know them too well. Their sudden eagerness to publicize my background is because I achieved much better grades than Jessica, which can bring great glory to them. I didn't give them the chance. I rejected them without mercy and threw their gifts into the trash can right in front of them. My parents were furious but could only rage helplessly. They could no longer do anything to me, apart from school matters. During my free time, Grandpa asked me to go to his company and personally taught me business management. The other side of the family soon got wind of this. My father and elder brother directly came to Grandpa's new company. Dad, what do you mean by teaching Joanna? Don't tell me you're training her to be your successor and planning to give her this company. Grandpa raised an eyebrow. It's my company, I can give it to whoever I want, and you're right, Joanna is the successor I've chosen. Dad, are you crazy? You have a son and a grandson, why give it to a girl? She's not on the same page as our family. She's been back for so long and has never truly accepted us. Since my father failed to win me over before, he was now completely turning against me. He said resentfully, she's an ungrateful wretch. Do you really want to hand over all your hard work to an outsider? My elder brother echoed in dissatisfaction. Exactly, Grandpa, I'm your grandson. The money you earn and the company you run should belong to me. Grandpa sneered. What's wrong with a girl? She's better than the two of you combined. Joanna got into a 985 university. What about you two? One of your diplomas was bought with my money through countless favors, and the other got a worthless diploma by studying abroad with money. When I give Joanna a brief explanation, she can come up with an excellent plan. What about you two? After one of you snatched my business, instead of making a profit, you've been losing money every year. The other is a good for nothing who only knows how to use his fists. How dare you compare yourselves to Joanna? You don't deserve it. Get out of here. As Grandpa spoke, he called his assistant and arranged for security guards to throw my father and elder brother out. When my enraged elder brother saw me at the door, he immediately lunged at me, yelling, "It's all your fault, you little bitch. How dare you covet Grandpa's property? I'll kill you." Bang! My elder brother didn't get a chance to hit me. Instead, I gave him a shoulder throw, knocking him down hard. He lay on the ground, unable to move for a long time. In this second life, I learned that for a woman to be strong, two things are essential, knowledge and physical strength. So after being reborn, while studying desperately, I also trained hard in Taekwondo. Grandpa happily gave me a thumbs up. Then, he sneered at my elder brother, who was lying on the ground like a dead dog. Oh, not only is he a good for nothing who only knows how to use his fists, but he's also a useless good for nothing who can't even beat Joanna in a fight. Both my elder brother and father turned deathly pale with anger. After driving my father and elder brother away, Grandpa officially wanted to transfer the company to me. I had no experience in running a company. In the eyes of outsiders, although he was over 70, he had developed the company so well, they thought it was a gift from heaven, that he was a natural entrepreneur. But only I knew that he had worked harder and endured more hardships than a young man in his prime to create such a brilliant career in his old age. I was afraid that my abilities were insufficient, that I couldn't reach the height he expected, and that I would waste all the efforts he had put in at his age. Grandpa glared at me again. Who are you to judge your own abilities? Since I chose you, I should be the one to evaluate your abilities. I say you can do it, so you definitely can, girl. There are many kinds of abilities. The ability to make others be convinced is one of them. You can make me firmly choose you as my successor. And you can make the company's shareholders and your Grandpa Lincoln willing to train you. This is your ability and charm. Also, when you first returned to the family, you chose me with your discerning eye, which proves that you saw my potential. That's why you were willing to leave that family and come with an old man like me. Don't laugh at me, Joanna. you saved me that time, and during every holiday, you stayed by my side. So I no longer felt like a stray dog. Going to that family and getting angry during festive seasons when every household was lit up, at my age, when I'm almost in the grave, you gave me the courage to live a fulfilling life again. Your salvation of me at that time is your greatest ability. Grandpa was so moved that his eyes turned red, but I was torn. I was thinking whether to tell Grandpa the truth, that I wasn't as great as he thought. At first, I didn't think about salvation at all. I chose him simply because I didn't want to stay in the family. However, seeing how happy Grandpa was, I decided not to confess. I repented in my heart. Let it be a white lie. In this life, Grandpa and I no longer begged that family for love like beggars. Instead, after becoming better, stronger, and loving ourselves, our lives truly became infinitely beautiful together. With Grandpa's words of affirmation, I was full of confidence. I nodded firmly. Grandpa, I'll work hard. I will do my best. Fortunately, since I started learning from Grandpa, everything had gone smoothly for me. Grandpa believes in you. Grandpa was very happy, perhaps because he smiled more in this life. The wrinkles on his face became shallower, and he looked more energetic. In this life, through my own efforts, in my sophomore year of university, I used the money I earned myself to buy my first car. Brian took time out of his busy schedule and insisted on taking a ride in my new car. I drove him to see the sea. After we came back from seeing the sea, Jessica, whom I hadn't seen for a long time, suddenly appeared in front of me. She looked haggard, her belly was swollen, and she looked like a ghost, completely lost. Why did you come back? Why didn't you die in the orphanage? You're so vicious. You deliberately won Grandpa's favor, forced him to set up a company for you, and made Mom, Dad, and my elder brother jealous of you. Now they keep saying that you're capable. That since I'm not their biological child, I'm not as good as you, they don't love me or care about me anymore. And Brian, you knew I liked him, didn't you? So you deliberately stole him from me, you bitch. From the very beginning, you planned to take everything away from me. The child I was supposed to have should be his. It's all your fault. You ruined my life. Her eyes were wild. Suddenly, she took out a sharp knife from her pocket and stabbed at me. I was about to kick the knife away when Brian moved faster. He pulled me behind him, and the knife stabbed towards him. However, the knife didn't hurt Brian. Someone grabbed the crazy Jessica. It was my father and mother. In my previous life, Jessica set up a trap for Brian at a class reunion. She bribed two unethical boys to get Brian drunk and drug him, then sent Brian to her room. Since Brian was becoming more and more outstanding, after graduating from Ivan Academy, Jessica found it hard to enter his high-level social circle, so she resorted to this despicable means of forcing the situation. Although Brian, with strong willpower, managed to run out of the room later, Jessica caused a huge scene at the Lincoln family. Brian also spent a lot of effort to clear his name. Therefore, in this life, on the day of their class reunion, I deliberately asked Brian to meet me, unexpectedly. Although we avoided the class reunion, Jessica still found another opportunity and set up a trap for Brian in this life as well. Fortunately, the final result was the same as in the previous life, and Brian managed to escape the trap again. In my previous life, Jessica secretly got pregnant not long after setting up the trap for Brian. It wasn't until a few months later, when her belly started to show, that she went to the Lincoln family triumphantly, using her pregnancy to force Brian into marriage. At that time, Brian told her that he hadn't touched her that night. Only then did Jessica realize that Brian had run away from her room that night, and the ones who had appeared in her room were the two boys she had bribed. Seeing Brian escape, they had evil thoughts, sneaked into Jessica's room, and took advantage of her while she was drunk. Because she was so drunk and bold, Jessica didn't know that the person who got her pregnant wasn't Brian at all. Jessica originally wanted to become a daughter-in-law of the Lincoln family to make her family think more highly of her, but her scheme failed, and she ended up ruining herself. Instead of trying to fix the situation, she used me as a scapegoat, diverting all of my parents' and elder brother's attention to me. She took advantage of this time to secretly go to a small city to deal with her swollen belly. Then, she filmed a video and sent it to the family group. In the video, she cried pitifully, saying that she really didn't want to leave this family, so she had been humbly trying to please me, but I still hated her, couldn't stand her, and push aside her everywhere. She said she was so tired and that she wanted to give Mom, Dad, and my elder brother back to me. She said she would no longer compete with me. Then, in the video, she jumped into the sea. After seeing the video, my father, mother, and elder brother were heartbroken. They were so angry that they didn't even think about looking for the dead Jessica first. Instead, they vented all their anger on me. My denials and explanations were pale and powerless in the face of their overwhelming anger. My mother kept chanting Jessica's name, crying hysterically. My father slapped me 10 times in a row, and my enraged elder brother kicked me off the 3rd floor. I died at the feet of my own elder brother. But in this life, without me as a scapegoat. Everyone knew about Jessica's self-directed and failed attempt at forcing a marriage. Jessica, who was unmarried and pregnant with a child whose father was unknown, was condemned, mocked, and despised. Because of the great shame she brought, my parents began to blame her. Ridiculously, even now, Jessica still didn't repent. She blamed me for everything, thinking that it was because of me that her life had gone wrong. And she came here trying to make me disappear from this world. At this moment, my parents ran over and grabbed Jessica. I thought they couldn't bear to let her break the law by hurting someone, but to my surprise, after pulling Jessica away, they didn't take her home to protect her. Instead, right in front of me, my father slapped Jessica hard. Jessica was stunned. After a while, she came to her senses and let out a shrill scream. "Dad, how could you hit me? I'm your beloved Jessica. You've never hit me since I was a child." Slap. My father slapped her again. Jessica cried and ran towards my mother. "Mom, Dad has gone crazy. Save me." However, my mother, who had always protected her like life, actually pushed her back towards my father. Slap, slap, slap. My father, as if possessed, slapped Jessica dozens of times in a row without saying a word. Jessica's face swelled up badly, with tears and snot streaming down. She could barely speak. After my father finished hitting her, he turned and walked towards me. Thud. My mother knelt down with him. My parents, who had never been nice to me, were now crying in front of me. Sorry, Joanna, now I finally understand why you refused to stay at home or accept us after coming back. I know everything. We're sorry for what we did to you in the previous life. We broke your heart. We don't deserve to be your parents." I finally understood why they had such a sudden 180-degree change in attitude. It turned out that they had been reborn too. My mother grabbed my hand. "You're our biological daughter. It's all that bad girl Jessica's fault. She drove a wedge between our family. Mom is so sorry. Mom has cut off all ties with that bad girl. From now on, you're our only daughter. Come home with Mom, okay? Mom will make up for all the things I owed you in the previous life 100-fold. I pulled my hand away and said calmly, "It's too late. We can't go back. Ever since you believed Jessica's words without asking for the truth and killed me in the previous life, there's no going back. I never had parents since I was a child, and I don't need them in the future." My mother sobbed uncontrollably. "You really don't want me anymore. How dare you? I'm your daughter." Jessica was extremely unwilling. She cried and picked up the knife that my father had thrown away, and lunged at me again. This time, it was my elder brother who rushed over and stopped her. My elder brother snatched the knife and, with a blank expression, stabbed it into Jessica's chest. In the past, there was only boundless doting in my elder brother's eyes when he looked at Jessica, but now there was only hatred and indifference. I looked at him coldly. It seemed that, like my parents, he had also been reborn. "Brother, I'm your Jessica." Jessica's eyes widened in disbelief. Blood gushed from her chest. Until her death, her eyes remained wide open, staring fixedly at my elder brother. My elder brother pulled the knife out of Jessica's chest. Holding the bloody knife, he turned to look at me and tried hard to smile, but between him and me was the previous life when he had killed me with his own hands. So, smiling was no longer an easy thing for him. Still, he forced a smile, which looked uglier than crying. "Joanna, I was the one who killed you. I'll pay you back the life I owed you in the previous life right now." "No," my father and mother cried out almost simultaneously. However, my elder brother had already stabbed the bloody knife into his own heart. After falling to the ground, he smiled at me again, but this smile was even uglier. With a look of relief, he said, "Joanna, I don't owe you anymore. See you in the next life, little sister." I silently replied in my heart, no, never again, after hearing the story above. What are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Looking forward to hearing from you. If you liked this story, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.